So this is going to be a kind of a shoot from the hip vlog, I guess. Of course, all of them are kind of like that to some extent. But something I've been thinking about today, this weekend, happened was at the Scaries 100. William Dunlop was killed. If you don't know William Dunlop or of him, he's a very famous Irish road racer. His family's really famous and very talented, very successful family as far as Irish road racing is concerned. Joey Dunlop's the all-time leading winner, has most all-time victories at the Isle of Man TT at 26, and I think Michael Dunlop has 16, I believe. But Michael's the only one that's left, I think, that's still racing, or that is racing. Joey was killed in Astoria. Robert Dunlop was killed at the Northwest 200, and now William Dunlop was killed at the Scaries 100. And it raises the question that a lot of us as motorcyclists will face or answer at some point in our motorcycling career, if you will, and that's, why do we do this? You know, the argument from those who ride in cars, you know, it's dangerous. You know, why do you have a death wish? Are you addicted to adrenaline? Do you like speed? Do you have, you know, name your response that you're going to get from someone, and you'll have it. But so I guess that's why I want to talk about it is, you know, well, why do we do this? Why do we ride? Why are we willing to put ourselves in that particular situation? As far as putting ourselves out there to excess danger, I guess, or a position or excess vulnerability, I guess, is a more accurate term when viewed by the rest of society and those who don't ride. And if you've never ridden a motorcycle, it's such a hard thing to describe. The overwhelming one-word answer you're ever going to get from a motorcyclist is well, it's freedom. And I don't think that's true for me, at least. I don't feel free when I'm on the bike. I feel like I'm in a constant equation, and that equation changes and it evolves with every turn of the wheel, with every turn of the road, with every change in the road, with every change in the bike, with every change in me. There is a constant balance that has to take place. And to me, it's a game, or for me, it's a game of angles and trajectories, and it's an ongoing math equation that is so magnificently challenging and so rewarding when you are able to balance that equation and even see those dangers that come up. You know, who's the next person that may cross in front of you, the mistake that you may make in the road, the obstacle in the middle of the road, the dog that's running alongside the road that you're prepared if he's going to run out in front of you, stuff like that. It's literally everything that you encounter. You try to see what could happen before it happens and already have an action plan in place so that you can escape and evade whatever problem might come your way. But it's not all bad. You know, there's not just one reward that you get out of it. It's not just, okay, I get to go fast. It's not that at all. It's the ability to command this machine that deserves and requires so much respect and so much attention, and just every motion that you do and that you make on it influences how that machine is going to behave. And really, you it does what you tell it to do. And bikes, for those of you who've never ridden, bikes want to be upright. The best thing that we could ever do on the back of a bike is to not be there. So that's really what our goal should be, is to ride the bike as if we're not there, because these machines are engineered, beyond our understanding and beyond our capabilities, and there's no way that I'm ever going to be able to out-engineer what Honda did for this bike, or far exceed the limits of this bike. There's no way I'll probably ever be able to even match the limits of this bike, just because it's such a finely tuned machine, and just everything about the idea of motorcycles, steer right to go left, steer left to go right. Even to the throttle. Think of it this way: you twist the throttle backwards to go forwards. So it's counterintuitive to what your natural thinking would be. Obviously a fuel pedal in a car, you push forward. The accelerator pedal, you push it forward to go forward, or backwards. Obviously depending on what gear you're in. But split those hairs later. But it's just, it requires so much effort, and at the same time it requires little effort at all. So once you really started to master it, to know what's going on with the machine, and I'm not saying I am that, but it's a goal, and it's something to always look forward to and work forward to. But motorcycling is such a rewarding thing, and then even there are some of those motorcyclists that are out there that see the Isle of Man and see that road racing, and they think, oh, that's crazy, I would never do it. I would never once in a million years want to do something like that. That's too dangerous. I get it. I get that side of it. I get that opinion, especially from those who do ride motorcycles. But at the same time, from those who do race, I get their side too. I understand why they do it. I absolutely do. And this is coming from someone who's actually afraid of speed on the track, and I've got a mental block that I've got to get over to carry more speed. But it's just a terribly, terribly difficult equation to continuously balance, and you're really on that razor's edge between, I think the road, the documentary Road on the Dunlops that's on Netflix. The comment that was made is you're really riding on the razor's edge between safety and disaster, I think, and that's really what they do. But I understand it. I really do. So, for that answer for all of us is different. Why do we ride? It's such and the freedom, I think, is a generic answer. I think that it's something that's the easiest way to really explain it to someone. Some people ride because they've got an addiction to speed and they want to go fast, and they want to do the hooligan thing and do speed runs on the interstate, see how fast they can get the bike to, and then there's some folks that do it just because it looks cool, because it's their buddies have Harleys, or buddies have sport bikes, or buddies have scramblers, whatever they've got, and it looks cool, and they're part of that club, and they're part of a gang, I guess you will, or a club's a more politically correct term, I guess. But even maybe some people, they woke up one day and they realized, hey, I'm okay at riding a motorcycle, and they end up doing that as it turns into an income, so then it's a way of life after that, and much more than just a hobby, and then there's those who just love being on the back of it, and it's an escape. It's something you don't have to to focus on the world or the problems that you have at work. They all go away. You just get on the back of the machine, and it's different to every person. So I think that's a very broad question, but I think it's an important question that both that we understand that people that don't ride understand why people that ride do. And they also respect, and I want a mutual respect to grow between those who ride and those who don't ride. There's a lot of road distraction, and that really cause or that influence the dangers that riders face. People on cell phones, it's a bad one. People that just don't use signal lights, they merge without any kind of indication whatsoever. People that are always in a hurry, that tailgate bikes. There's just a lot of stuff. But at the same time, as motorcyclists, we have to be able to combat that in a positive way, and not so much just say, oh, flip somebody off or hit their mirror and knock their mirror off. Trust me, I wanted to do that so many times. I wanted to just hit somebody's mirror and take it right off the hinge and, ride away and act like I was so awesome and, for doing that. But you get so frustrated, but at the same time, that's just the only thing that's going to do is leave that negative stigma and reinforce that negative stigma with that driver. So, one thing that we should do, is focus on extending that forgiveness to them if someone cuts us off, if we're able to react, But I guess the first thing we should do is let's work on our skill as a motorcyclist to be ready for those dangers and to see those dangers before they come up, and always be prepared mentally that something could happen. Stay in that mental gear that something could happen at any second of our ride, and always be ready to flip that switch to concentrate to get out of that problem. Now, the next step is, we take care and we do our part to take out all that guesswork that we can, and hone our skills to the best that we can, and be prepared and ride defensively. Now, at the same time, take that one step further. Whenever that inevitable thing does happen, when someone cuts us off or someone pulls out in front of us, and we've reacted and we have successfully gotten out of the situation, tell ourselves, and this is actually fantastic. I don't want to tell you that my advice is fantastic, but this was advice that I received from a friend that I feel is fantastic advice. Look at that opportunity as if it was supposed to have happened. That was looking at it as a learning opportunity, that, okay, this happened, so you learn this from it, and and deal with it accordingly. And it could be a step for an opportunity to learn how to forgive that person, or extend that person some grace and say, okay, you've got, maybe you're having a bad day. It affected me. It scared me to death. It put my life on the line. But I'm going to show you grace, and I'm going to forgive you for that, because I've had bad days too. And I know that every single one of us on the back of a bike, even if we weren't on the back of a bike when it happened, we've all had bad days. We've all made poor decisions. So we need to be able to extend the same forgiveness that we would want to us if we were in that situation or made a mistake such as that. I've only been riding for a little over 2.5 years, or right at 2.5 years now. But I would hate to imagine a world where I couldn't ride and I didn't ride, just because there's nothing like this feeling that you get. And I mean, I don't get off the bike and have adrenaline just flowing through me. It's just, like I said, it's something, and this is going to sound terribly cliche, and I apologize, but there's something about becoming one and really learning this machine and being connected to the machine and letting the machine flow underneath of you, and you flow down the road like water around stones, around turns, and it's that beautiful equation that you're balancing the whole time. And sometimes that equation doesn't balance. That's when you have issues and problems that arise, and you have to know how to react to it. Same as if you're driving. So I think that drivers really need to think about that as well, and try to view the world through a motorcyclist's eyes. But anything that we can do as motorcyclists to improve the stigma of those who don't ride with us, I think is going to help our cause. You know, I'm really not a fan of the hooligan stuff and running from the cops and doing wheelies on the road and this and that. I'm not a fan at all of it, and it bothers me. It bothers me to see it. It bothers me to what's up, dude? It bothers me to see people partake in that and support that. It's just, there's no place for it, really. I mean, you know, roped off parking lots. Come on, and that we just need to improve our relationships with those who are around us, you know, in law enforcement, but also as regular motorists on the road. There's a mutual respect, you know, because we are more vulnerable as far as what we have around us. However, I do feel safer on a motorcycle a lot of times because I have more of the lane to play with. I can see more. I don't have A-pillars in my way. I don't have blind spots behind me, or at least in my, you know, my left and right rears. And some people just will never get it. Some people will just never understand. They will never extend that grace to you. They will never forgive you for being a motorcyclist, and that's okay. We just have to accept it, go on, and let it go. You know, there's nothing we can do to change it. The only thing it's going to do is cause us to get upset. The only thing it's going to do is to cause more people to see motorcyclists in a negative light, and that's not what I want for our community. Our community and our culture, if you will, is it's an amazing culture. It's an amazing big family that we have, and I just want the best for it, the best positivity that can come out of it. And I think that a lot of times we hold that in our hands. So I don't know. Maybe I'm rambling a little bit, but that's just kind of how I felt about it. I wanted to talk a little bit. So it's my video. I can talk about what I want. But I'll go ahead and end this. Like I said, it was a little rambly and a little preachy, and I'm sorry for that. But just been thinking about it with, you know, the Dunlop family, and you know, thoughts and prayers go out to them. Obviously, I don't know them personally, but you know, seeing what they accomplish in the world and seeing how talented of a family they are, then and how tragic that is, and it sucks. So I pray for them to be able to make it through it, and that they have the support that they need, and are surrounded by the people that can give them that support. Yep, that's it for this one. We go through this little left. Hopefully this part of our equation is good. You guys take care. Be safe. God bless.